Oh, Saigon. Shit. I'm still only in Saigon. Every time I think I'm going to wake up back in the jungle. When I was home after my first tour, it was worse. I'd wake up and there'd be nothing. I hardly said a word to my wife until I said yes to a divorce. When I was here, I wanted to be there. When I was there, all I could think of was getting back into the jungle. I've been here a week now, waiting for a mission, getting softer. Every minute I stay in this room, I get weaker, and every minute Charlie squats in the bush, he gets stronger. Each time I looked around, the walls moved in a little tighter. Welcome to Dangerfield's Sunday Prescription. And if you didn't know, that was what the test card girl who sat there with the clown and the chalkboard was thinking when you were laying back in your mother's front room cracking one out over her. Hi. I do apologise about the noise in the background. The old bitch is making dinner again and she's frying onions. With that and the washing machine giving it the old gag. You might have noticed I'm shouting. But I will stop shouting as the onions hath sweat. Yeah, when the onions hath sweat and they quieten, there you go, I too shall sweat and quieten. Lip hop, fatty, lip hop, fatty, reggae. Lip hop, fatty, that's right. This is a tribute to Bad Manners, the 1980s Fat Man Tribute Act. I think they pulled it off quite well. Special brew, all me want is my special brew. Along with Sting there for strangest band to do an impression of a black man. Weirdly, once I studied in Totnes. I eventually got chucked out of Totnes by the police, who took me up an alleyway and said, fuck off, back to London and take your fucking crack with you. It was weird. I was there for about 6 months. When I arrived, there was quite a busy local public bar scene. By the time I left, everyone was sitting at home, scratching their eyes out, smoking rocks. So I think good that the police asked me to leave. However, when I first went there and I was 18 and it was beautiful, one night I went to the bar, had a few lagers, couple of gin and tonics, met this bloke. He seemed alright. He wanted to get a band together and I wanted to get a band together. Went round his house after the pub, sat in his room, nice bloke. Smoked a few bifters, nice bloke. Looked at his music collection, nice bloke. He showed me photographs of when he toured Asia when he was 15 years old. Nice bloke. He said to me, would you like some fried bean curd? Yes, I would. I've got some lovely bread, he said. Had that. Nice bloke. Sat around, it was all good. He went, I'll tell you what, I've got a bit of Chateau Lafite Rothschild 72 in the fridge. Do you want some of that? I said, yes, I do. And we had it, not in the fridge, I've got it fucking wrong. It was room temperature, as red wine's supposed to be. Perhaps that was the navel of this story, the part that threatened its entire undoing. However, we drank the wine, and I thought, nice bloke. So, have you got any songs? He went, yes, I have. He got out his guitar, nice guitar. Had a bit of wear, nothing too flash, nice. Started strumming some chords, nice. I liked it. I thought, this is alright, nice bloke. And then he went, jang, 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 which was alright, nice bloke. Jang, 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 jang. And then he went, jang, jang. Oh, you see me, girl, touching me on the will. He was whiter than I was, and I was anemic, and I was very white. So when he went, when you see me, girl, touching me upon the will, they weren't the lyrics. They weren't even that good. But he was white, and when you see me, girl, touch me upon the will. He was an Uptown Top ranking, and I thought, no, not a nice bloke. You can't get away with it. Sting can't get away with it. Bad Manners almost can. Because I love you, yes I do, and I know that your love me true. Because he was a tribute act to the Fat Men, which I said previously. What a nice week it's been. I have had some good news. Hang on, a sip of my tea. If you've got your tea there, now is time to take a sip, and we shall be synchronised on the count of 3. You got it in your hand? Yep. 1, 2, thrice. And And that's right, burn the back of your throat on your tea. So I've got some good news. Check it out. There I was, online, because I'm always online. That's what you do. Part of the circuit, aren't you? Part of the machine. Part of it. Not even an active part of it. Just a passive node in an increasingly unnecessary and essentially unjust communication strata. And there I was, the information going through me and humiliating me and treating me like a whore, essentially just going through my veins and like, anything in here worth having in? No, having in. See what I mean? Too much information. In a minute I'll be speaking in binary. 001001110. Never understood that. Never understood binary at school, couldn't stand it. And then it got us onto the hexadecimal. And it was like, this is base 16. And I was like, no, I'm base 10. You start paying me money. You want to earn a pound note, mate? You start talking in pounds. Don't come at me with a base 16. Whew. So I had a terrible time at school. That's what I'm trying to say. So 1001101. Look, Mummy, there's a bird. Can I cut his wings off? So I got this email. And it went, hi Chris, because I use a bit of software that makes all my emails vocal. I can't be doing with the reading. So it went, hey Chris, you have been contacted by someone representing someone else. Essentially, they wanted me to go on American television to do a story. They wanted me to tell me a story. I want to tell you a story. And that's very nice. So I have to go up to the Edinburgh Festival and give them a 20-minute story. And they said the categories are crazy, sex, that's 2 categories. Crazy, 1, crazy. 2, sex. 3, betrayal. 4, parents. So I said, I'll do crazy. She said, alright, it don't matter if you want to chuck a bit of sex in too, mate. Which is great. So that's going to go out on Comedy Central, and I feel excellent about that because I'm not doing an Edinburgh show this year. But I am going to do that. And then, is that all? No, that's not all. Are you sitting down? Have you got a seatbelt holding you into your grotty, piss-stained sofa? Because it's not all. No. Then someone else contacted me and said, hey, Christopher. It was via email, but I have a software that uses my voice to read me my own emails. It's a good thing. You can get it. It's called chrisvoice.com. And it will essentially, I've said essentially so many times. Do you know why? Because I bought some essential oils and I've been snorting them, and that's the effect. It's a psychoactive effect, which means you will say essentially too much. Or maybe it's because I've been practicing Zen Buddhism, and so I've been practicing reading it. Well, I've been learning to read, but the point is I am of the essence at the moment. I am trying to scrape things back, peel the layers. I'll tell you what, when I say peel like that, it reminded me of a horrible story. My friend No Fool, he's nobody's fool, he's Moroccan and he's Muslim, so he's loads of people's fools. But he used to work in a shop called Textile King on, the onion's done now.
I'm doing a meatball.
She's doing my meatball. She always does my meatball. She likes me eating my balls. Watch me catch her out here, watch.
No fault.
Are you doing my meatballs?
I am doing your meatballs.
Are you frying my balls?
I am frying your balls.
Yeah?
Yes.
Didn't really work, did it? So No Fool worked in Textile King on Berwick Street, and I used to go in there to buy material, buy cloth. A bit of scabao. Got any scabao? Finest cloth in the world, scabao. Not really, because the finest cloth in the world is Holland and Sherry. And I know that because their tagline is Holland and Sherry, the finest cloth in the world. And to be fair, it is. They could say it. It is lovely. If you want to get a suit made, get Holland and Sherry or scabao. I would go with Holland and Sherry because they've got it's a nicer weave. There you go. And you know what? This is lovely. When you get a suit made by a decent trouser maker, because I get my suits made by... Don't get your whole suit made by a trouser maker, or you're going to have trouble putting your arms in your trouser shirts. Mum, can we catch the mice and eat their eyes for puberty? When a trouser maker makes you a pair of trousers, a proper trouser maker, he'll cut the cloth so that on the inside of the pocket you have the bit on the cloth that tells you what it is, the manufacturer, the weave, and the pattern. So if you needed... Being distracted by a prat, sorry.
I'm not a prat.
Okay.
I'm a lovely girl.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, they will have they'll leave the edge of the cloth on the inside of your pocket. So were you to want that cloth again, you could just say, "I want this again," and the trouser maker would turn the pocket out, and apart from a used condom and a biro, and perhaps, I don't know, some kind of tiny Bible, they'll see what your trousers, what the cloth was, and they'll be able to replace them perfectly. So Noful used to sell me Scabal, and Holland and Sherry. Of course, when I got to know him and started buying him lunch on the business, didn't cost me a penny, he used to start giving me cloth, giving it to me. So, £600 worth of cloth, which makes a £3,000 suit quite a lot of money. I'd go, can we not nick it? And they'd go, yeah, of course. So that would save me lots and lots of money. You can't steal cloth, though. That's not what I'm saying. He doesn't work there anymore. The shop's not there anymore. Went out of business. Can't imagine why. Point being, what was the point?
Is that Nothul is a Muslim?
It's not Nothul.
Nothul is a Muslim.
And
he had to starve himself for Ramadan.
No.
And repent for
No.
his
What was the
cloth.
point? Oh, man. What was
Talking about religion.
Oh.
He was praying earlier on to Allah.
It's nothing about praying to Allah.
Chris was praying to Allah.
Oh, all right, I'm going to stop this and try and remember what I was talking about. Point being, I was in there once chatting to Noful, and this bloke come in, and his name is Met, and he's a bit overly tanned, and he's Turkish, and his name's Met. And you go, all right, Met? He goes, yes. Why wouldn't I be? And you're like, no, that's a good point, Met. And so I was talking to Noful, and Noful was telling me how he had a woman who sews the holes in buttonholes in jackets. So when you have the hole cut in a suit jacket, you need to have the buttonhole sewn up. And if you have it done by a machine, it looks like it's been done by a machine. If you have it done by hand, it looks crap and it's more expensive. So you pay people to do that. And there was a woman who'd done that called Lily, and she was in the back of his shop cleaning his hands once, and he hadn't had any sexual action for 3 years. And she was only about 60. And he went, Lily, will you wank me off into the sink? And she went, okay, and wanked him into the sink. And he was telling me, and I was going, Lily, you made Lily do it. She felt obliged. You hand-raped Lily. He said, fuck off, I fancied her, but I didn't want to see her outside the shop and all that. And so Met, who heard this, he went, hey, you guys, you should go to Poland. And we was like, oh, right, that sounds good. And he went, no, you should definitely go to Poland. The ladies, they are sealed. No way did he say that. And I've looked at Noful and I just thought, what did he say? And Noful's eyes, I could tell Noful thought, what did he say? I'm not psychic, I could just tell. Do you know what I mean? I peeled the layers off of Noful to get back to his essence. And the Met said it again because he could tell we didn't know. He went, I promise you, they are sealed. And I was like, what's sealed? What, like gift wrapped? And he went, no, they are sealed in the vagina. The pussy is sealed. And I was like, what, like gaffer tape or something? He went, no, they have not had the sex. They are sealed. Sealed. But Met, sort of thing Met, I can imagine him sitting there dripping grease from his mouth going, I need another sealed lady. I need to set the shores a little wider with my penis and break the seal. It's gross. And so when he left, not that being sealed is gross, not that breaking a seal is gross, but the fact that Met assumed that me and Noful would go, no way they're sealed. That's a great, amazing. We got to go to Poland and find some sealed girls. And when he'd gone, we were finding it the funniest thing ever, and also the way he said it. And so we were walking around, and all the time, every time, like we bought a carton of milk or something, I'll go, is that fresh? And Noful will go, I don't know, check if it's sealed. And then one day I said to him, let's think of all the songs you can think of that have got sealed in them. And he went, all right. And I was like all excited. I went, yeah. I went, yeah, what about this? Sealed with a kiss. Sealed with a kiss. And he was like, yeah. And then he went, I go on. Signed, sealed, delivered, I'm yours. Yeah, signed, sealed, delivered, I'm yours. I was like, yeah, here's one. Anyway, no. So we got 2. So this week's competition to win fuck all. Can you think of any songs that have sealed in the title? Sealed. Okay, thank you very much for the two persons who responded to last week's competition to find a Cartangle Geary. Richard Griffiths, podcast regular and Welsh nice man who's been going through some hard times this last life. He had a Cartangle Geary, and also someone else. I can't remember who it was. Can't remember your name, but in a way, you're better because you are the anonymous sender of a Cartangle Geary. If you remind me, I will give you a shout out on the podcast, and then me, you, and Richard Griffiths can shake hands in our little Tricangle Geary community. So the good news is, of course, I just recorded about 15 minutes of probably the best podcasting I've ever done, and I jumped up afterwards and went, yeah, and I hadn't recorded fucking any of it. I am really gutted, but you gotta just move on. You gotta move on. I can't remember what the fuck I was talking about, but I can try to remember. And let's start with, oh man, this is bullshit. I really... So, yeah, I'm really annoyed. I think it was probably the best stuff I've ever talked about. So, I'll tell you what. Do you remember Deborah Harry? That's what I liked. I like it. Tide is high and I'm going on. I'm gonna be your number one. I'm not the kind of girl who gives up just like... Of course, you see, Debbie Harry was the first white woman, the first white person to record a rap. You see, it wasn't that song. It was Rapture. And then she went 10, 5, 30 pound, hey. And she did, but she was rubbish. But it was quite cool because she was Debbie Harry. And if you were like me, age 30, and you were alive in the 1980s, you will know that you'll be sitting there and you've got a cushion upon the legs because you've got two beak fingers down in your little trowel, and because she's on telly and it's Debbie Harry and she's going, what I know, it is no gas. I swim down out on a hard glass. I don't do things from the side. And I don't know if any of us anytime. No, but it wasn't that one, was it? What was it? It was that. It was a Rapture. That's it. £10 Freddy. I already told you that. But so you'll be sitting there and you think, oh yeah, Debbie sealed Harry. She's Blondie, and it was amazing. She'd be backlit, and she was so nonchalant. She just stood there, just moving her hip, just enough to let you know it moved when necessary. Debbie sealed Harry. Amazing stuff. But she done that, and she was the first, like I say, the first white person to record a rap, which is incredible, even though it was shit. But not including perhaps Yellow Man, because he's a albino Rastafarian and he's a black man, but he's a yellow man, but he's not white, is he? But is he white? I don't know. See, that's what I like about Yellow Man and Blondie. I'd invite him round to my bar. I'd say, Blondie, you sit there. Yellow Man, you sit there. Between the thrice of us, we're going to increase the national debt or some shit. So, the funny thing is, I love those songs. I love that. I soon found out I was a hard glass. But nostalgia, isn't nostalgia a lovely thing? It's warm and it's... But it was better before the fucking internet, because everything was better before the internet, except for the dark web. Nothing was better. The dark web has made everything better. Dark web. Darknet. It's a weird thing though that it's called the darknet or the deep web. I just call it the lovely, delicious internet, because that's an ideological scam, isn't it? The deep web. Yeah, you're going into the darknet. You're going to get your hands burnt. You're going to come back filthy, boy. But you're not. You're actually going to find some amazing things. But the ClearNet, the fucking Google sphere, yeah, history's most successful surveillance fucking operation. Can you believe? It's not that we know that they're storing all our information. It's that we don't give a shit. We are so apathetic. We just don't give a shit. And I found out what's really grisly about that. All those things. What has he searched? What's he clicked on? What's he bought? I was looking at some photos today of Arsenal winning the Emirates Cup, right? Just looking at some photos of muscular men in tight-fitting clothing, sweating. And I was flicking through and thinking, these are great photos. We won. We were 6-0. We beat Leon, not the gangster Leon, not the bloke who swung down from the banisters with those two shooters, who had that weird pedo relationship with that little girl who turned into a big girl, and he should have waited. But Not that Lyon, the other Lyon, the French place. We beat them 6-0. So I'm looking at the photos, and then suddenly just a picture of a mattress come up. Oh, want to buy a mattress? And I was like, what? I just bought one like 20 minutes ago. Fact, I bought a new mattress. And so the internet's done its weird conjuring trick and used all its processing power to come to the thinking, oh, maybe he wants to buy a mattress. No, I just bought a mattress. But what is sinister? What is dark about this predictive nature of these adverts, these offers, this content that the internet throws up to you. You know, and people go, well, you know, I don't fucking buy it. I'm on Facebook and it comes up, oh, Leonard Cohen live in Toronto CD. I'm like, no, I just don't buy it. The adverts don't affect me. But you're missing the point. Your future is being moulded in advance to sell you shit. It doesn't matter if you buy it. The fact is that's your future. And what you see, what you're allowed to see, what the bigger people choose for you to see is being decided by algorithms, by binary 1, 001, 001 in advance. And so, you know, now it's just a few adverts, but it won't be long before you're walking down the road and a man comes out of an alleyway and says, I know you, Dangerfield. I know what you do. And I know where you've been. I know where you're going. And I know where you're from. And I want to draw a picture of you. And I want to send it to the Queen. And I want to say this man's a communist. That's what he wants to do. And that's what's going to happen. And that would be awful. It would make me feel like I were un puppet, like un Pinocchioid. Horrible things. But nostalgia used to be great. But now so... Let me think. I'll tell you what, me and my mate Wev, yeah, we'd been out in Soho and we'd done about 20 pills, 20 ecstasy. Great fun. And by the sort of fifth one, we were just like weird robots. But that's all right. Just keep eating them as long as your robot hand can place another pill in your mouth. And we got to 9 o'clock in the morning and my mate owned the Golden Lion on the bottom of Dean Street. That's right, the one where that man killed all those gays in his fridge. And we went in there not to kill gays in our fridges, nothing to do with fridges and nothing to do with gays. We went in there because it was like we had nowhere to go. We done Bar Italia till about 8 in the morning, and we thought fuck, and we sort of ended up at the Golden Lion. And my mate, the landlord, he opened it up. He went, "You two look like shit. Here's a pint of Guinness and a fucking banana." Not the bananas that we've talked about on the podcast previously. Actual yellow bananas. And he thought that would help. So a pint of Guinness and a banana each. And we munched on them, and it was like, and he went, "Oh, how are you?" Sealed, Scarbell, sealed 100,100. And then my mate Ben, he lived upstairs, so he said, "Oh, let's go and hassle him." So we've gone up there, and we're all like robots, biting our lips off. And he was like, "Oh, you two look like you've been at it." And we were like, "Oh, I've been at it." And he went out the room. And when he was out, there was a dog in the room, and there's a dog in the room, Steve. I'll tell you about that in a minute. And I said to Webb, "There's a dog in the room." And I said to Webb, "When Ben comes back, I'll ask you what the dog's name is." And the dog's name was Silky. And so I said to Webb, "When I ask you what the dog's name is, say bargaining power." And so Ben come back, Ben. He come back in the room, and I went, "Oh, hey, Webb, what's the dog called?" And he went, "Bargaining power." And Ben went, "No, I'm not having this," and he just walked out of the room, never to be seen again. Well, he was seen again because it was nice, because I I'm ripping back the layers, I'm peeling, I'm popping, I'm dropping back the layers of Ben. I'd like to think I got in that job through my network of people, and it was good because he was only 16, and what he'd done was just at speed, ease, booze, crack and heroin for about 9 glorious months. What a job. I remember he'd cook food in there, and I knew he'd been awake for about 4 days, and I'd go up into the kitchen and he was there with like eyes like saucers and bones like knitting needles, like looking at this boiling fat, thinking, is it worth just dropping my head in there? And I go, "How's the cooking going?" And I go, "This thing about there's a dog in the house, Steve. I used to have a mate years ago we fell out in the end because I took him down to a college I was at and give him some acid. And because I made a load of new friends, I had new things in common with him. And when we come up on the acid, me and all my new mates were talking about new things. And my old mate thought that we were doing it deliberately. Not deliberately talking about new things, but trying to freak him out and exclude him. And out of the blue, if you've done acid, you'll know this. You'll know, because this sort of shit happens. It's when you start working out who you're going to shed, what friends en route have you, you haven't become better than, you haven't improved upon, but you've become different to. And I remember he suddenly, in front of them all, he looked really nervous and twitchy, and I thought, oh no man, he's having a bad one. Who wants to bring a mate to introduce their mate you've told all your friends about him? No, he's all right, laugh, good fun, yeah, no, great lad, and oh hello everyone, yeah, let's do acid, we'll have a laugh. And then suddenly he starts looking twitchy, and you're like, oh fucking hell. And suddenly he went, yeah, I know you're all talking in a language deliberately so I can't understand. I was like, oh, come on, man, as if. So we fell out over that. I thought it'd be all right. The next day, when the acid's worn off, takes a fucking while, but the next day, when it's worn off, it'll be all right with us. And he was like, nah, I knew what you were up to, trying to fuck me up, weren't you? I was like, oh, come on. It's not mates with him anymore, but when we were really young, he had this American bloke come to his house, and his name was Steve, and he used to go to his mum, hey, give me 2 cigarettes, please, Sheila. Give me 2 cigarettes. And also, he used to spit on a lump of greaseproof paper, so there was this big sort of mound of mucus in his room. And when my mate Michael went into his room, have I talked about this on the podcast before? I may well have done. Well, you're going to spot the gaps now, because it's the second coming of Steve. His name was Steve. He was a 9-foot tall Afro-American bloke, but he had this big pile of gob, like jelly puke mucus on this bit of paper. And when my mate Michael, me and him, went into his room while he was out, he only went out once. He was in Dartford for 2 weeks, come from New York, left the house once. Of course, we've sneaked into his room, and my mate Michael's trod, with his sock on, straight into this mound of mucus. He went like this, and he went, and he was nearly puking, and I was like, and when he took his sock off, when his sock left his foot, there was like washing lines of mucus between the sock and his foot. Obviously, we fucking threw the sock into another universe. But this bloke Steve, at night, my mate Michael and his sister Andrea, they were upstairs, and they had to hide in the mum's room because he would talk in his sleep, and he'd be in his sleep, and because I stayed round there, and he was going, "There's a dog in the house, Steve. Woof, woof." We were cracking up, and the sister Andrea was going, "Oh, I can't sleep," and the mother was going, shut up, don't upset him, you'll upset your father." And he was going, "There's a dog in the house, Steve. I think I'll go swimming." And then, and this is gospel, then he'd fart, and it'd be a right ripper. It'd be like, and it'd go, "Most delightful." And we would be crying. We're about 11 years old, and then again, delightful. Most delightful. There's a dog in the house, Steve. Every fucking night. Absolutely amazing. I wished it was these days when you had a phone and you could have recorded it, and I'd still be sitting there going, "No way, listen to Steve." Most delightful. But that's where I return to my point, because I remember that story and it's in my mind, and I have to conjure it, and I have to remember what it looked like and picture the room, and I have to call on my own brain and my own dialectic relationship between the past and the present to create the nostalgia and witness it fresh and new and exciting and exhilarating every time. Whereas, because of the fucking internet now, when me and Wev are at the Coach and Horses and it's getting to about 11 o'clock in the morning, I'm going, "Oh, do you remember Blondie? Wasn't she something? And we were there going, "Want to know, it is a glass, run out, I had a glass," and all that, and we're like, yeah. And when we got back to his house, we said, "Let's put the computer on and dig out those tunes." Yeah, and we listened to them, and they were shit. And that's my point. They were shit. They were better in our memory. I pictured Debbie Harry as my 14-year-old dream, sealed or not. And she was this amazing thing, and her songs were something else. And I just thought it was incredible. Like, what is going on? What is New York? Where is New York? What is that crazy backlight? How has she done that to her hair? I hadn't seen hair like that. I'd seen like fucking aprons and fucking hair falling out. And it was crazy. And, but then we look back and it was just a bit shit. And all the tunes that I loved from my childhood that I couldn't get hold of, and I lost them, like Uptown Top ranking, amazing, bang, bang bang, boodle-diddle-dum, bang bang bang. See me in me altar back, woo. See me give you a heart attack. I strictly brilliant. But when I dug it out and listened to it, it was like, oh come on, we've heard the intro. Move on, because we're like that. We're disposable. We want a few seconds of it. Come on, next bit of nostalgia. Not those long, deep, enthusiastic reminiscences where you have to involve your friends. Go, oh no, what happened? What did it go like next? And they'll be like, oh yeah, there was this in it. And you'll be like, yeah. And you make more of it, and more's good, because what we've got is shit. Okay. So it's that time. Come here a minute. And it's question time. This is a time in the podcast when I talk to my little friend here who says she's fucked up the dinner and ask her a question about something I've told her about on more than one occasion. And this week, well, I'm going to ask you about the Blue Posts. So... tell me about the Blue Posts pubs in Soho.
They were there because back in the day there was a disease.
Go away. And there you go. She is confused. The Jon Snow pub, which was to do with the discovery of cholera being germ theory, when it was they used to believe that cholera was spread in the miasma rather than the water, which it was. And Jon Snow discovered that, and they have erected a pub called the Jon Snow. And she is confused in the Blue Posts, which there's at least 3 of, which used to mark the edge of the fox hunting territory in Soho. Hence the cry Soho when they used to go fox hunting. So absolutely shit. Now, I think it's time for the questions. Okay, let's have them. Trevor Locke, little cuddly Trevor Locke says, are you a Cenobites? Are you a Cenobites? I don't think so. Isn't that something from Hellraiser? Aren't they Cenobites? Richard Griffith says, when is a door not a door? Oh, Trevor Locke says, are you a feminist? Of course I'm a feminist. Why wouldn't I be? Who would choose not to be a feminist? I'll tell you who would. An arsehole. Trevor Locke then asks, what is a Cenobites? Been there, done that, answered that. I think a Cenobites. I think Cenobites are that, like, Pinhead, what's his name? Hellraiser. Dunno. I didn't like horror films. Ooh, scary stuff. Richard Griffiths, oh fucking hell, milk it. Richard Griffiths then asks, I see they're still selling lit. No, I'm not reading that out, Richard, because it's not a question, it's a joke. And I refuse to let you use my podcast as your platform, your lazy platform, for you to tell jokes. If you want to tell your own jokes, get your own fucking podcast. Zoe Dupre says, can I carry yours and the missus' bags to Cambodia, please? You are paying OVs. Yes, you can carry our bags to Cambodia. And yes, we will pay OVs. Only to Piccadilly Circus, you slag. Oh, there's more. Oh, no, there's not. Oh, there's some other shit. Someone says something about up her arse, and she says there'll be plenty of room. And Colin Simponsky goes, question, exclamation mark. Trevor Locke again. Alistair Cook is the name of which current English cricketer? I don't know. Richard Griffith says, will you ever record a podcast again when your missus ain't cooking? It doesn't look like it, does it? Glenn Donahue says, did you hear they were back together again? No. Who's that? The cheeks of your arse. Ah, you got me, you shitbag. Dave Horton says, back in Blighty for a few days. What's the big yellow thing in the sky? Well, David Horton, the big yellow thing in the sky is, when Batman, hang on a minute, do you have to file your nails that close to the microphone?
Sorry.
Don't apologise, just don't fucking do it again.
Piss off.
Right. David Horton says, back in Blighty for a few days. What's that big yellow? Do it in the bathroom, please. David Horton says, back in Blighty for a few days. What's that big yellow thing in the sky? We know when Batman is required and he shines that big torch and it's like got that flashlight, not a flashlight, that light, and there's an image of the bat in the sky. Well, the big yellow one in the sky, it's trying to get everyone with hepatitis C to go out into the street and eat themselves some better carotene. Not worse carotene, better carotene. Dave Horton then asks, are moths the Antichrist? Joe Hawke says, how does a scarecrow work? How does a scarecrow work? Well, Joe Hawks, the black and green scarecrow, as everyone knows, sat with a everywhere he didn't go. He stood in a field where barley grows. The black and green scarecrow is sadder than me. He stood in a field where barley grows. Matthew Morrison says, if you had to go back in time and assassinate one historical figure, who would it be? Well, Matthew Morrison, because I'm a fan of the paradigm, because I'm a fan of the parody, because I'm a fan of the postmodern, because I'm a fan of the post-structural. You know where this is going, wouldn't you? It would be me. Yeah. Although not a historical figure at the moment, when I turn out to be the man that went back in time to shoot himself before he was a historical figure, thus becoming a historical figure, ooh, this became a bit more juicy than I at first thought. Dan Claxton says, does anyone listen to your podcast? Good question, Dan. Asked by a man who, rightly so, obviously questions, does anyone listen to you ever? Michelle Smith says, what impresses you? I'll tell you what impresses me, Michelle Smith. And I'm being serious now. I am impressed by people who try to transcend the form they love. Yeah? If you're involved in something and you want to make it better, you want to make it better, but you do so by having the bottle to step out of it, you know, to threaten to break the limits of the enclosure. Yeah, Julia Kristeva, French psychoanalyst and writer and feminist, she said that poetic language is any language that threatens the limits of its own enclosure, and I'm impressed by that same kind of poetry in any creative form. Steve Denton says, order Peking duck, mate. It's quick and simple and also enjoyable. I think that's lovely, that is. That's absolutely lovely. That's all he says. Order Peking duck, mate. It's quick and simple and also enjoyable. Carrie Louise Althorpe says, why? Just why? I don't know. Davey Mitchell says, 'cause it can watch you eating it. Okay. Ryan Dickinson says, how many orgasms does a woman have in a lifetime? I have no idea. What a ridiculous question. This is getting hard work this week, isn't it? Fucking hell. Bobby Davis says, why are you introduced to heroin and crack? Why are you introduced to heroin and crack? Whereas you, quotes, take all the remaining head fucks. Why are you introduced to heroin and crack? Oh, I see where you're going. So, you take all the remaining head fucks. Yeah, you just have them. Oh, yeah. But someone introduces you. Oh, you know why. You know the answer to that, don't you? There's an ideological thing going on there. You know, you know the answer to that. I'll tell you what. Read. Oh, what's the fucking book called? I'm reading it at the moment. There's a problem with the Kindle, you see. When you used to read normal books, you'd see the cover every day. I'm reading a book at the moment, and it's about the drug war, and it's talking about Harry Anslinger, that cunt, and how he killed Billie Holiday, and all that sort of early Federal Bureau of Narcotics. It's an ugly read. It's the grisly truth of the drug war. Stick in Google drug war Harry Anslinger book. I'm sure you'll find it. I'll try and remember by next week. Helmut von Diggle. He says, what happened to my pink leather trousers? And on that note, everyone, it's been hard fucking work. I love you all dearly. Yep, that's it. I'll see you later. Yes, much later.